The first responding officers reached the property at 2:34 a.m. They found the front door wide open, the lights still warm, and a full dinner cooling on the dining room table. But the family who had called them was gone. It is the ultimate psychological violation. Every security measure was active, yet the occupants vanished as if the house itself had simply decided to stop sheltering them. Deep in the Ohio backcountry, a specific set of rules governs this landscape. Locals follow a strict three-mate survival rule. No matter who owns the deed to a property in Black Hollow, staying past the third sunset is considered a terminal mistake. In 2019, a family from out of state moved into the Hollow and treated the local warning as a tall tale. Within exactly 72 hours, they were entirely erased. Investigators found no blood, no struggle, and no fingerprints belonging to an intruder. There was only an empty house and the silence of a family that had been removed from the physical world. The site of the disappearance is Black Hollow House. It's a massive Victorian structure that was sold for a price so low it should have been its own warning. The listing had been active for 30 years without a single serious inquiry. The townspeople don't just avoid the house, they avoid looking at it. Drivers frequently glance toward the forest to ensure they don't catch a glimpse of the third-floor window after the sun goes down. For the new family, the first night was unremarkable. They unpacked their belongings and fell asleep in a house that felt deceptive in its stillness. This is the specific psychological trap of the Hollow. The danger is not immediate or loud. It is the slow, quiet accumulation of being watched by something you cannot yet see. On night 2, unsettled by the oppressive silence of the woods, the parents installed a digital security network. They placed cameras in every hallway, effectively turning their new home into a fortress of observation. At 1:14 a.m., the cameras caught this: a tall, distorted shape standing at the end of the upstairs hallway. It didn't move, and it didn't trigger any motion alarms. Every door was deadbolted. The perimeter sensors remained green. There was no physical breach of the home, yet the figure remained on the monitor for over an hour. The situation shifted on night 3. Their daughter came into the master bedroom, refusing to go back to sleep. She claimed a man was standing directly outside her door, staring into the dark. The parents checked the live feed and saw the same shadow from the night before, positioned exactly where the daughter said it was. The digital anomaly was now a physical presence inside their private space. In a final attempt to find a logical explanation, the family spent the following morning researching the land's history, digging into local records and regional folklore. They found accounts of a malevolence predating Ohio itself, an entity imprisoned within the mountains, existing in the periphery of human sight. The accounts described an ancient witch, a towering figure possessing 2 distinct heads. One head supposedly watches the past, while the other watches the present. The folklore suggests a mechanism of reciprocal observation. It requires the energy of a witness to stabilize its form. The security cameras provided a constant witness. By observing it, the entity gains the mass it needs to act. By attempting to monitor the house for their own safety, the family unknowingly provided the fuel the entity needed to manifest. On day 4, the parents began reviewing the night 3 footage frame by frame, searching for a face they could show to the police. As they zoomed in on the shadow, the digital file began to degrade. The footage glitched and tore, as if the camera sensor was incapable of processing the light reflecting off the figure. When the pixelation settles for a single frame, the anatomy on screen is clearly not human. The neck is too thick, supporting a mass that the digital sensors cannot properly resolve. The silhouette reveals 2 distinct profiles staring in opposite directions. It was the exact entity from the Appalachian journals, the 2-headed witch, now fully stabilized within their hallway. The boundary of the house had dissolved. By looking directly at the entity through the lens of a camera, the family had completed the loop. At exactly 2:17 a.m. on the 4th night, the house reached a breaking point. The electrical system surged. Every light in the house began flickering in a violent, rhythmic strobe, as if the structure itself was under immense pressure. The final 911 call from the father is mostly static, and the sound of children screaming in the background. He managed to shout his address once before the line went dead. Then the light stopped. the screaming stopped. The house fell into a heavy, unnatural silence that was captured on the final seconds of the security hard drive. This wasn't an act of violence. It was an erasure. The family was simply gone, removed from the timeline of the house in a single instant. When the police arrived, they found the house in perfect order. The family's beds were unmade, and their cars were still in the driveway, but not a single person remained. The only new object in the house was this note, found on the dining table. The handwriting was erratic, scrawled in a panic. The family's own vigilance had become the trigger. The note points to the act of observation as the point of no return. Today, Black Hollow House sits empty. It is a monument to a mystery that the authorities have officially labeled as unsolved. Yet locals still report seeing a two-headed shadow standing in the third-floor window, waiting for the next person to look. The story of Black Hollow is a warning about the cost of curiosity. If you were offered $1 million to stay in that house, would you have the discipline to keep your eyes closed? Or would you look, just to see if it was watching you back?